Hi guys, Jessie here from Black Cats and Cards, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing my June reading wrap up and my July TBR. I'm sorry if it's echoing a little bit in here. I had to close the door because the cat was going nuts. So yeah, I think this is going to be a little bit of a longer video, so if you guys want to pause here and go and grab a drink, I would do that now, and I'm going to get into it. So, in June, in my TBR video, I said that I was going to read Vengeful by Victoria Schwab, Gingerbread by Helen Oyeyemi, The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna, Prairie of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon, and I was going to listen to Kiss Quotient, When Dimple Met Rishi, and Hope Chest. I did some of those things. I'm gonna tell you right now, I didn't listen to any of those books. I did listen to a book, but I didn't listen to any of those books. So, yeah, let's get into what I did read. So, the first book that I read in June was actually The Storm Sister by Lucinda Riley. I don't have a copy of the book here because I gave it back to my boss. I have a copy of the next book here, but I will talk about that in a minute, of what I'm currently reading. I really enjoyed The Storm Sister. I had a few issues with it, just in the way that grief was being dealt with in the book. I didn't think that it was incredibly realistic, but I also do have to keep in mind that it is a bit more of a fluffy read, and as far as that goes, it was great for that. And hopefully I will have an image of the book here. So yeah, I really enjoyed that, and I've moved on to the next book in the series. Next up on what I did read, I read, oh my goodness, I don't have it, hold on. Next up is Gingerbread by Helen Oyeyemi. I did read this, and I still feel like I couldn't tell you what it's about. I couldn't tell you anything about it. I finished it and was really confused. Yeah, her writing style just isn't for me, but I am glad that I did finish it, and I can say for sure that it's just not for me. Yeah, I still really enjoy the cover though, and I'm glad that I have a copy of it because it is pretty. So that was the first book that I finished on my TBR there. And then we have Vengeful by V.E. Schwab. This was a continuation of the the Villains series. I don't know if she's going to write another book for this series, but this is the second book. The first book was Vicious. I love this. I know that there were a few people that were saying that it didn't live up to their expectations, they wanted more. I thought it was great. I really enjoyed how the story progressed. I really enjoyed the jumping back and forth between Victor and Ethan again. Yeah, it was a great story. I can't really say anything about it without giving things away, but I really enjoyed it, and I'm really glad that I did pick up a signed copy of the book. So yeah, that was book number 3, I guess, that I finished, but number 2 on my TBR. Next, Beautiful Creatures by, good question, Cami Garcia and Margaret Stoll. Oh, sorry, there's a glare on this book, I think. This is also a new setup, so I have a mirror like across the room, and I can't even tell if I'm in focus, so I'm really sorry if I'm not. But yeah, I've had this series on my bookshelf for what seems like absolute ages, so I'm really glad that I finally got to the first book. I liked it. I did think that it was a little bit, I don't want to say juvenile because it's YA, it's YA and I'm not YA, so I liked it for what it was, and I will continue the series. I want to read the rest of it. This is one of those series that I picked up because all of the covers were really pretty and I liked the way it looked on my bookshelf. So I will definitely be reading the rest of it. I don't know if I will be reading the next book in July, but I might. So this kind of follows two teenagers and one who is dealing, sorry if you can hear my cat, one who is dealing with a rather eccentric family. She has some secrets, or rather her family has some secrets. She's trying to figure it all out, and she has to make a decision by the full moon of her 16th birthday. So it kind of follows the same bit of a pattern, I guess, as a lot of different YA novels, and I wasn't really expecting anything different from that, but yeah, so that was the 4th book that I read in July, and the 5th and final physical book that I read in July was The Fortune Teller by Gwendolyn Womack. Really sorry if I'm pronouncing any of these names wrong. I'm not good with names. This one I picked up at the library, as you can probably see here. I really enjoyed this. I was really nervous picking this up because it does deal with the tarot, and I was nervous that they were going to either disrespect it, treat it as something that was like satanic or something crazy, or they were just gonna get like all of the interpretations and that kind of stuff wrong, which always kind of dampens my experience with a book or a movie. If they're using the tarot, I feel like if you're using it, you should at least get it right. I feel like this did that. It respected it, got it right as far as it could. It wasn't entirely focused on readings or anything like that, but it was a really cool book to read. The main character is, I don't know what her job title would be, but she works for a company that goes to people's houses and goes through their collections of like old manuscripts and that kind of stuff, and she's an expert at analyzing handwriting. So I thought that was really interesting, and then when I was journaling after reading this, I thought about what my handwriting maybe says about me. But yeah, so she goes through this, and the whole story kind of begins when she finds this manuscript that's in Greek, and she starts translating it. And I don't really want to give anything else away, but if you're into tarot and you're into books, I would definitely recommend reading this. And if you do, tell me what you think. So that is it for physical books that I read, and for audiobooks, I only read one audiobook this month, and that was The Tattooist of Auschwitz. And I'll put a little picture of it here. That book hit me. It hit me pretty hard. I wasn't expecting, I don't want to say I wasn't expecting it to be good, because I feel like anything that's on the subject of the Holocaust and all of that, it has to be written well, but for what it was, I really enjoyed hearing the story, and it did affect me quite a bit. I would definitely recommend reading it if you haven't. It made me realize just how privileged I am in the life that I've been living, that I'm even able to do this. That I'm able to be completely out there with my beliefs, with anything really. We have social media now, we have all of this stuff that nobody had back then, and that wasn't even that long ago. But I feel like we've come far, but yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about that. But the book definitely changed the way that I look at certain things, and I would definitely recommend reading it if you haven't. It follows one man, and eventually in the story it follows a woman as well. The man ends up being the tattooist in Auschwitz, and it kind of goes through his experience with that and with doing that, and then yeah, I don't want to tell you any more about the story because I don't want to give things away, but I would, if you're listening to it, listen to the very, very end of the recording. You get to hear stuff about the author and their experience writing the book. Highly recommend. So, what didn't I read off of my TBR? All of the audiobooks. I didn't read any of the audiobooks on my TBR, but I also didn't read The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. I don't really have a reason. It just wasn't shouting out to me. I wasn't feeling historical fiction. So yeah, so this one I think is going to bump over onto my TBR for July. And this monster of a book, Prairie of the Orange Tree. This also, oh my gosh, wobbling out of frame. This one I think I'm also going to bump over onto my TBR for July. I have a week off from work in July, so I do have quite a bit more reading time, and I will be taking a bus trip or two, so I will have reading time then as well. So I'm hoping that I will be able to dive into this in July. I'm still very excited to read this, and I'm really hoping to get to it. Okay, so now I'm going to dive into, and I grabbed my coffee, I'm going to dive into my TBR section of this for July. Oh my gosh, I'm leaving lipstick all over my mug. Anyway. So my TBR stack is here for July. I do have quite a few more physical books that I want to read this month as opposed to audiobooks that I want to listen to, and that is because I do have a week off from work, so I will be listening to books, I feel like, for a week less. So yeah, so I'm feeling pretty optimistic about this month, and I feel like I'm ambitious. So I'm gonna dive right in because there's a lot of stuff that I want to cover. And yeah, so first off, I am currently reading a few different books. I have been reading The Holistic Tarot by Benabel Len. I don't know if you can see my bookmark that's here. I've only read this little tiny bit. I'm starting chapter 7, so I'm not very far in this at all, but I have been enjoying it so far. I think I'm going to have to grab a pack of sticky notes to continue reading this. I'm sorry if I'm like always looking this way. I'm looking to see if everything's in frame. I'm gonna try to keep looking here. I think I'm gonna have to grab a pack of sticky notes to continue reading this because I want to make sure that I'm like taking the notes that I want to take because I feel like there's a lot to digest in this book, so I'm going to be doing that. There is another tarot book that I'm currently reading, but it is over there and I'm not getting up to get it, so let me see if I can squint and read the title from here. The Tarot, Magic, Alchemy, Hermeticism, and Neoplatonism by Robert M. Place. He is the guy that designed the Alchemist Tarot, and I bought the deck first and then I went back to the same shop and bought the book because I felt like it would just go so well together to make a complete experience. So I'm reading that as well, but not like from start to finish kind of thing, which I probably should, but I'll do that eventually. Another one that I've picked back up is Women Who Run with Wolves. I started reading this with Rose from the Cackling Moon's Facebook book club thing that we were trying to do. I didn't finish it. And this is actually one of the only books that I think, I don't know if you're going to be able to see any of this. I think that was a pretty good page there. This is one of the only books that I have ever written in. I was always so vehemently against writing in books, but with this one, I had to write my thoughts and underline things that I really liked somewhere, and doing the sticky note thing that I did in university just wasn't going to work here. Honestly, it didn't work then either, but I just really didn't want to write any of my books in university, so I've picked that back up, and I'm hoping to finish that in July, or at least get another chunk of it read. And then what I'm currently reading for fiction, I guess I should go a little bit, I should tell you. So my plan for July and reading goal-wise is that I want to read both fiction and things that I would consider like educational. I don't know why I put that in quotes, but stuff that I would find more educational. So like the Holistic Tarot, Women Who Run with Wolves, I would say is like educational because it's like soul education. And then the other tarot book that I was talking about, like books on like dream interpretation, stuff like that. I want to read both fiction and educational books every day. But I have in my bullet journal tracker, I actually have a section for reading, and I want to make sure that I read something educational for myself, for my soul, for whatever, every single day, because I can get a little bit drowned out with like all of the fiction, and I do have quite a few like non-fiction or like educational books that I have that I really want to get to. So I thought that would be a good way to do that. And now I'm gonna move into fiction. So currently I'm reading The Shadow Sister by Lucinda Riley. This looks at the third sister of the 7. You'll know what I'm talking about if you've read any of these. Yeah, because Pearl's sister is next. So this follows Star's story. If you're familiar with these at all, it follows the same format as the other books, going from the present into the past and then back to kind of show the connection between the past and present between these girls. This so far, like I'm not crazy far into it, but this so far I think is my favorite book in the series yet. Yeah, I'm really enjoying this. I will probably finish this in the next couple of days, because I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it that much. So that one I will finish. Okay guys, this is the third time that I'm filming this clip of this video. The first time it cut off, the second time the whole thing was blurry. So let's go. Next book, Umami. I got this out from the library. My receipt is still in it. This one I don't know a whole lot about. I know that it takes place in Mexico City, and I know that it follows 5 different people. I picked it up because the actual spine of it really caught my eye when I was at the library, so that was my main reason for picking it up, because the spine attracted my attention and I really liked the cover. I know, don't judge a book by its cover. There's a reason that people design these. So yeah, I'm excited to get into this, and I will let you guys know what I think in my next reading wrap-up TBR. Next up, Beautiful Darkness by Cami Garcia and Margaret Stoll. Again, this is the second book in the Beautiful Creatures series. I know I said I didn't know if I was going to get to this, but I think I am going to read it because I don't like leaving a lot of time in between book series books that I'm reading. I think that I kind of lose my place a lot. I know that this still follows Ethan and Lena, but I don't know exactly where the story picks up, so I'm interested to see where they pick up the story there. So I'm excited to do that, to get into that one again. Dorothy Must Die. This one is a book that my mom actually picked up for me quite a while ago. It's by Danielle Page. I don't really know a whole lot about it. I know that my mom picked it up because she and I used to watch The Wizard of Oz fairly often when I was younger, and she saw this and thought of me immediately, so she picked this up for me, and I'm excited to finally get to read it. I feel like I've been putting it off for a long time because I want it to be good. Yeah. Next up is The Chalk Man by CJ Tudor. I've heard good things about this. It's not very long, so I will probably blast through this pretty quickly. And I was thinking about maybe doing both audiobook and reading the physical copy because I do have a copy of the audiobook downloaded on Scribd. So yeah, I'm excited to get into this. I don't know a lot about the story as per most books that I'm planning to read, but I've heard good things, and I believe my mom has actually read this, so I'll have to look on Goodreads and see if she's read it, but I'm excited to read this one. And then last in my physical TBR is The Illusionists by Rosie Thomas. And this one I picked up when I was going through a circus-themed book buying phase, craze, whatever you want to call it. I picked this up along with a bunch of other circus-themed books. I think I was going through with like circus withdrawal after I finished the night circus. And then I read... what was it that really like set me off? Caraval maybe, and I really wanted more, so I know I picked this up then, but I didn't get around to it because one of the other books that I picked up in that same haul I was really disappointed by, and I couldn't connect with it. So I think I kind of just set all of those books to the side and just didn't look at them for a while. So I'm excited to get into this one. I know that it takes place in the past in I think 1885 in England. So I'm excited to get into a bit of historical fiction this month. My cat's bringing me receipts. Yeah, so I'm excited to get into this one. I really hope it's good. Again, the cover, with these playing cards on the cover, and just like the mystery of it, I like covers. And then as far as audiobooks go, like I said, I do have a week off in the month of July, so I won't be listening to as much, but I think I am going to listen to The Kiss Quotient, which I discussed in my previous month's TBR video. It is about a woman, I believe, who has Asperger's, and I think she wants to understand relationships, or she wants to get into a relationship. I can't remember exactly, but I'm excited to read that one. I know I was very interested to read it before, and I'm just as interested to read it now. And I know that it's one that I'm probably going to want to discuss at work, so that is an extra bonus. Yeah, so I really hope that this is in focus, that it doesn't cut off, and that the camera didn't wiggle because my cat was playing around by the bottom of the tripod. Yeah. This video has been a bit of a struggle. I'm also sorry that I took a bit of a hiatus. I don't know if I've really been on YouTube for long enough for you guys to have noticed, but I think I scared myself by trying to set a schedule, so I'm nixing the schedule. I'm just gonna make videos when I can and put them up when I can. So yeah, I hope that you guys have a good day, week, month, year, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!